The words that moved nations a decade ago are officially obsolete in today's 2026 geopolitical landscape. Right now, world leaders are utilizing a specific, evolved vocabulary to project dominance at international summits. If you want to command the room, you must master the etymology of these high-stakes linguistic power moves. Language has always shaped history. Throughout time, influential leaders have understood that words can inspire nations, calm fears, encourage cooperation, and motivate millions of people toward a common goal. Whether speaking at international summits, addressing economic challenges, discussing climate change, promoting technological innovation, or responding to global events, world leaders carefully choose words that carry both meaning and emotion. Understanding the origins, or etymology, of these powerful words not only expands your vocabulary but also helps you appreciate why certain expressions continue to influence public opinion. In today's lesson, we'll explore the fascinating origins of influential vocabulary commonly heard in modern leadership, diplomacy, business, and global communication throughout 2026. Let's begin with the word influence itself. The English word influence comes from the medieval Latin word influentia, meaning a flowing into. Centuries ago, people believed that stars and planets exerted an invisible force that flowed into human lives. Over time, the meaning evolved to describe a person's ability to shape the thoughts, decisions, or actions of others. Today, influence is no longer associated only with political leaders. Entrepreneurs, educators, scientists, journalists, and content creators all strive to become influential voices in their respective fields. Another word frequently heard in leadership speeches is collaboration. This word originates from the Latin collaborare, meaning to work together. The prefix co means together, while laborare means to work. Modern leaders often emphasize collaboration because today's biggest challenges, whether economic, environmental, technological, or humanitarian, cannot be solved by one individual or one nation alone. Whenever you hear a leader call for collaboration, they are encouraging shared effort toward a common objective. The word resilience has become one of the defining terms of the modern era. It comes from the Latin verb resilire, meaning to spring back or to rebound. Originally used in physics to describe materials returning to their original shape after pressure, resilience now refers to the human ability to recover from adversity. Leaders frequently use this word when discussing economic recovery, personal growth, disaster response, education, and community development because it represents strength combined with adaptability. Another powerful leadership word is innovation. Derived from the Latin innovare, meaning to renew or to make new, innovation is much more than invention. An invention creates something new, while innovation improves existing ideas and transforms them into practical solutions. In today's rapidly changing world, leaders regularly speak about innovation in healthcare, artificial intelligence, renewable energy, education, and business because continuous improvement has become essential for progress. Closely connected to innovation is the word transform. This term comes from the Latin transformare, meaning to change shape. Modern speakers often use transformation to describe major improvements rather than small adjustments. Whether discussing digital transformation, educational transformation, organizational transformation, or personal transformation, the word suggests meaningful, long-lasting change rather than temporary modification. Another commonly used word is strategy. Its origins trace back to the ancient Greek word strategos, referring to a military general responsible for planning and leading armies. Today, strategy extends far beyond warfare. Business leaders develop marketing strategies, governments design economic strategies, and individuals create career strategies. The historical connection reminds us that effective leadership always requires careful planning rather than impulsive action. The word vision is another favorite among influential speakers. It comes from the Latin visio, meaning the act of seeing. However, leadership vision is not about eyesight. It's about the ability to imagine a better future before others can clearly see it. Successful leaders often describe their long-term vision because people are more likely to support goals they can visualize and understand. One word that often appears in international discussions is diplomacy. This word originates from the Greek diploma, referring to an official document that granted privileges or authority. Over centuries, diplomacy evolved into the art of managing relationships between nations through dialogue instead of conflict. Today, diplomacy also applies to workplace communication, conflict resolution, and everyday conversations where respectful discussion leads to better outcomes. Another influential term is consensus. Derived from the Latin consensus, meaning agreement or shared feeling, consensus emphasizes collective decision-making. Rather than forcing opinions, effective leaders often seek consensus because decisions supported by many people are usually more sustainable and widely accepted. The word integrity carries enormous weight in leadership. It comes from the Latin integer, meaning whole, complete, or untouched. A leader with integrity behaves consistently, honestly, and ethically even when facing difficult choices. Because trust is essential in leadership, integrity remains one of the most respected qualities across politics, business, education, and public service. Another important word is accountability. While its roots lie in the Old French word account, meaning an account or report, modern accountability means accepting responsibility for one's decisions and actions. Strong leaders understand that leadership involves not only authority but also responsibility. This is why accountability frequently appears in discussions about governance, corporate leadership, and organizational management. The word empower has become increasingly popular in modern communication. It comes from the Old French word pouvoir, meaning power or ability. To empower someone means to provide them with the confidence, resources, knowledge, or authority needed to succeed. Instead of controlling others, today's effective leaders often focus on empowering teams to solve problems independently and creatively. One particularly inspiring word is legacy. Derived from the Latin legatus, meaning an ambassador or someone sent with authority, legacy eventually came to mean something valuable passed from one generation to the next. Strong leaders understand that leadership involves not only authority but also responsibility. This is why accountability frequently appears in discussions about governance, corporate leadership, and organizational management. The word empower has become increasingly popular in modern communication. It comes from the Old French word pouvoir, meaning power or ability. To empower someone means to provide them with the confidence, resources, knowledge, or authority needed to succeed. Instead of controlling others, today's effective leaders often focus on empowering teams to solve problems independently and creatively. One particularly inspiring word is legacy. Derived from the Latin legatus, meaning an ambassador or someone sent with authority, legacy eventually came to mean something valuable passed from one generation to the next. Leaders frequently ask themselves what legacy they will leave behind, not merely in terms of achievements, but through the values, institutions, and positive changes they create. Modern leadership also relies heavily on the word sustainability. This term comes from the Latin sustinere, meaning to hold up or support. Although sustainability is often associated with environmental protection, its broader meaning includes creating systems that can continue successfully over time. Businesses speak about sustainable growth, educators discuss sustainable learning, and communities work toward sustainable development that benefits future generations. Another influential expression is adaptability. The word originates from the Latin adaptere, meaning to fit or adjust. In a rapidly changing world shaped by technological advances and global challenges, adaptability has become one of the defining characteristics of successful leaders. Those who adapt quickly often find opportunities where others see only obstacles. Understanding etymology offers more than historical knowledge. When you know where words come from, you begin to recognize patterns across English vocabulary. For example, the Latin prefix trans often means across or beyond, appearing in words such as transport, translate, transform, and transition. Similarly, the prefix co usually means together, helping you understand words like cooperate, coordinate, collaborate, and coexist. Recognizing these roots makes learning advanced vocabulary easier because you understand the building blocks rather than memorizing isolated definitions. One of the best ways to develop leadership vocabulary is by listening carefully to speeches, interviews, panel discussions, and international conferences. Pay attention not only to the words speakers choose but also to why they choose them. Notice how influential communicators simplify complex ideas, inspire confidence through positive language, and use carefully selected vocabulary to unite rather than divide their audiences. Keep a vocabulary journal, write down unfamiliar words, research their origins, and practice using them in your own writing and conversations. In conclusion, the language of leadership is built upon centuries of linguistic history. Words such as influence, collaboration, resilience, innovation, transformation, strategy, vision, diplomacy, consensus, integrity, accountability, empowerment, legacy, sustainability, and adaptability continue to shape important conversations because their meanings have evolved alongside human civilization. By studying their etymology, you not only strengthen your vocabulary but also gain a deeper appreciation of how language shapes ideas, leadership, and lasting influence. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this lesson, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more videos on advanced English vocabulary, etymology, communication skills, public speaking, creative writing, and academic English. Leave a comment below and tell us which English word has the most interesting origin you've ever discovered. Keep learning, keep growing your vocabulary, and see you in the next lesson. Happy learning!